There is one big shift that's happened, and that is that illustration rares are reaching new heights. And honestly, some of the prices are the same as what top chase cards were selling a few years back. And as you're gonna see in this video, illustration rares are growing quite rapidly. And I actually am noticing that a lot of collectors are opting for illustration rares as like a mainstream play. And I think the reason for this is because some of the latest prices of special illustration rares, they're just reaching just such absurd levels. If you're looking at, there's a lot selling well over 500 USD and sometimes even double that. So I think the hobby is now like expanding a little bit at the moment, and illustration rares are really climbing at the moment. Check this one out. Alrighty, illustration rares really climbing over the last 3 months. They're becoming almost like chase cards within themselves. They're just climbing like ridiculously. We have the Ohsawott illustration rare right here from White Flare. 1 month ago, selling for 54 US, which is a lot. Right now, it is selling for $93. Starter Pokemon are just first lines as well as illustration rares. They are little hidden gems at the moment because people always make connection with starter Pokemon, and depending on the generation you started on, maybe you started Generation 1, Generation 5, Gen 6, you have a strong memory with starter Pokemon, and especially if you chose Ohsawott and you played with Samurott, you're gonna have a connection with this card and you're gonna wanna collect it. And that's why we are seeing now, so like the Ohsawott's going up, you can see the Squirtle from 151 going up. All these starter Pokemon are just unique at the moment. Selling for $93, that's a lot, okay? That's a few years ago, a lot of top chase cards of the set didn't even reach that price. Scarlet and Violet base, I think the Miriam was like, selling for $115 at the max it was selling for back in 2023. This Ohsawott is just one card from a lot of these sets that's already selling at that. And that's the like illustration rares, they're becoming more of a mainstream play because collectors, and I will be honest, here's the thing that happens. A lot of people are okay if they really like a card to be like, you know what, I really want it in my collection, $100. All right, it's expensive, but you know what, I'll just do it because I love the card. A lot of people can digest that kind of purchase. They're like, okay, I'll do it. When it goes to 300, 400, 500 US, dude, that's a totally different discussion people have in their minds. I have a way different conversation with my wife when I want to buy something, and I'll be like, hey, you know, I'm liking that card. 600 US or 900 Australian dollars. What do you reckon? Phil, not happening, buddy. But anyway, we are moving on to the Gastly illustration rare from Temporal Forces. Was selling 3 months ago for $58. Right now, this one's selling for $113. There you go. It has doubled. Pretty much, there you go. $3 off, it's doubled. That is insane. This Gastly is as well, and you know what's funny about sets like Temporal Forces and Stellar Crown, and this is the thing with illustration rares, people do not want to collect Temporal Forces or Stellar Crown because of the special illustration rares. It is the illustration rares in that set that people want. Same with Paldar Evolved, actually. So, like when sets release, look out for the illustration rares, man. They are the more price friendly option if you want in the current Pokemon market. I can't use the word price friendly. I just cannot in the Pokemon hobby at the moment. But they are where more people are okay, I suppose, if they want to chase cards spending that, like I said, that $100 range. When you go up to whatever the Gengar's selling for or the Pikachu SIR from Ascended Heroes, forget about it. That's a totally different market now. And we can see this split that's taken place. The markets have changed. That whole thing of like, hey, like how many people, like, have you bought a top chase card like Mega Dragonite or Gengar? If you pulled it, I'm pretty sure you've probably considered selling it or you did sell it. But let me know, have you decided or have you purchased one of those top chase cards? I'd really like to know. Also, if you are loving the video, I do continuously talk about the Pokemon market and news and updates. I'd honestly love to have you subscribe so you can stay up to date with all things Pokemon. Though interestingly, I want to talk about the Japanese Pikachu from 151 in the PSA 10. Japanese cards usually are at a lower entry point to purchase, and like they still have huge growth. Look at this right here. This was selling for last year. The PSA 10 art rare for the Japanese 151 Pikachu, selling for 40 US. Right now, in a whole year, that's selling for $170. That is huge, man. That is huge. And you know what's really good about Japanese cards as well? They have really high gem rate chances, especially for PSA 10. A lot of Japanese cards are well over 80% chance to be returned as a PSA 10. Some are even over 90%. So that is why there is that higher quality control that happens with Japanese cards. And I love it. I love it, man. I love it. Like when you look at it, it does have that real authentic feel, but like a lot of people haven't bothered adding Japanese to their collections. I love it. It's especially for opening packs. If you do love it, they're good, man. And as you can see there, if you did have a PSA 10 of this Pikachu, that's very decent price rise. Same thing here with the Magikarp from Triple B. Was selling for $109. This is in the last 3 months. Right now selling for $176. That is high. And you know what's funny? This Magikarp, everyone just wanted the English from Paldea Evolved. If I pull this into the year graph, last year around this time, there you go, we're selling for $56. That's big growth, man. That is very, very, like the Japanese market as well is climbing, and it is one to look out for sure. By the way, while speaking about these Japanese Pokemon cards, if you do want to purchase Japanese Pokemon cards, then that does bring me to today's sponsor, Bai. Now, a common issue that buyers face when buying items from Japan is that a lot of sellers don't offer international shipping. Well, that's actually where Bai comes in. So Bai is a Japanese proxy shopping service. So on Bai, you can just search what you're looking for. So here I'm just searching for Pokemon cards, and then I can see what's available. When I purchase something, the items will actually get shipped to Bai's warehouse in Japan, and then they will prepare, pack, and consolidate the order and prepare it to you for international shipment. Bai ships to regions such as North America, Oceania, and Europe. And with popular sets like Abyss Eye and more releasing in the future, it becomes an awesome site to have at your disposal. Now, what's so awesome, if it's your first time using Bai, you can actually use my link to get a 10% discount off your first order. All the details for Bai are in the video's description. A huge shout out to Bai supporting the channel. Now let's jump back into the video. Though moving on to Obsidian Flames, and this is the Ninetales. Right here in the last 3 months, Ninetales was selling for $30. Right now selling for 51 US. Really cool illustration rare. I always said it, if this card was a special illustration rare, man, Obsidian Flames would be a completely different set. But yeah, like selling for 51 bucks, that's crazy. And if I pull this into the year graph, there you go, it was selling for $14 last year. Then it did climb to $30 because there was a big illustration buyout and this spike that happened last year. Then it dropped back down. But right now we can see selling for 51. And there was a time that this card was selling for 8 USD. No joke. In fact, one early video I made was like the top 10 cards to buy. No, it was like top 8 cards under 8 USD. This was early 2024. This was the #1 card on that video like 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago now. So yeah, it was a very, very cheap card at one point. Now moving on to a card that has climbed quite substantially is the Meowth. Really cool illustration rare, but also at the same time, because the Meowth from Perfect Order is getting a little bit of hype at the moment, which I'll cover in just a second, that's also probably putting a little bit of pressure on this card. This was selling for 14 US. Right now, this card's selling for $28. This Meowth right here, looking at other illustration rares like I've shown you in this video, can it one day become a $60 card, a $70 card? Who knows, maybe if the hobby continues to grow, but also will there be a brake pedal? That's something that we're all kind of just wondering right now. I think everyone's just waiting to see what happens. And the Meowth special illustration rare, which is kind of driving a lot of hype for Meowth. Right now selling for $200. Did have a little bit of a low point in this market for $138, but it's found some stability at around 200 US. Perfect Order right now is the cheapest set in the market to open packs. So if you are looking to like hunt one card, go for it. I don't recommend it though with the prices. But yeah, I mean, they like Perfect Order is definitely a very not in demand set, to be honest. Perfect Order has a bit of, I've actually changed my opinion on the set. Can you believe it? I actually think it's pretty cool, man. I actually have had a big change of heart with Perfect Order. I don't know. I like it. I do. Something about it has just changed in me. I don't know what it is. I think the Clefairy's cool. Some of the illustration rares, they're speaking to me, the Rowlet. Hey, this Meowth, I don't know. I don't know what's happened to me. Just something. My mind's changed on Perfect Order. And moving on to one of the cutest cards ever created, the Eevee from Twilight Masquerade. Was selling last year for around 50 US. Right now selling at an all-time high of $96. Pretty much a $100 card. Really awesome illustration rare. To be honest, I always thought when this card was selling for like 40, 50 US, I always was under the impression it was quite undervalued, considering that the generation before this, we had all those evolutions, and we saw what happened with prismatic evolutions as well. Evolutions, this card, for some reason, for such a unique artwork, just kind of like got swept under the radar. No one even cared about it. Now, as I was talking about those starter Pokemon just before, we can see the Squirtle from Stellar Crown, and in the last 6 months, was selling for 64 US. Right now, this card's selling for $123. Starter Pokemon, man, I'm telling ya. And especially with the Mega Evolution era, there's a lot of starter first stage lines coming out. We can see that with the Rowlet, we can see the Piplup, we can see the Scorbunny. We've already got those first stage starters as well. That's all causing hype for these starter Pokemon. And yeah, they're just like an interesting kind of play at the moment, I think, especially for the long term, because generations really build that nostalgia for starter Pokemon. And even this Psyduck from Ascended Heroes selling for $63, right now selling for $111. Like, that's huge, okay? These are massive prices for illustration rares, and it's changed. The hobby has changed in real time. If you haven't kept up to date, you can see illustration rares have just, like, the market is so different because of these, and they're rare, especially if you want a specific illustration rare, and they're really wanted. People love them, and they actually, some illustration rares are such phenomenal artworks. Something like Shrouded Fable, the illustration rares just dominate the special illustration rares in terms of the design and how they look. Like, it is like, it's crazy to me. If you reverse that, I'm telling you, Shrouded Fable would be one of the most wanted sets. It is like, it's probably fortunate for collectors that most of the best cards in that set were illustration rares. And we can see here Pokemon 151, but I'm on the Pikachu illustration rare. We're selling for, I was about to say 135. I'm just that is crazy. I was literally just gonna be like, sell for 135, because that is what the hobby is like right now. Every card, I'm just saying 100, 200. It's just crazy. But anyway, it was selling for $35. Right now, the Pikachu is selling for $91. This card, I remember when I was pulling this, I pulled so many of these Pikachu illustration rares. Where does it end, man? When is it gonna end? It is getting so expensive. And I just think, like, the 30th celebration, what we can kind of envision with what's going to happen, it is going to be a tough time in this hobby for a while. And I like the whole thing that after the 30th celebration price is going to come down. I don't know, man. A lot of people are just becoming fans at this point. A lot of people are loving this hobby. Like, people are making genuine friendships out of it. They're going to card shows. They're meeting people. They're making connection points. It's hard. Now, for that just to leave and people be like, oh yeah, I made a really good memories with this hobby, but I'm not interested in it anymore. No, like, you're gonna be curious for what the next set is. Like, that is what happens. That's what this hobby does. This is really, like, unique, because I don't know if anyone could have foreshadowed this. And I suppose there is a bit of a thing with undervalued cards or underlooked cards, and there actually is a way to spot these. And if you want to see how I do that, I actually uncover that in this video here. In this video, I talk about how to find hidden undervalued cards in the market. If you enjoyed this video, you're gonna really love that video appearing on screen. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you on that next video.